gentlemen, welcome to Xbox the Box, an Xbox podcast. My name is Potato, and I'm with my good friend, Davey. How are you doing, Davey?
Really well, thanks, Lewis. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be back on Xbox the Box, and to come over here and taste the other side. See the grass is green approach that Xbox always have. So pleasure to be here, mate.
It's a pleasure to have you. And in this week's episode, we've got a lot of topics that are PlayStation and Xbox centric anyway, so it's kind of a nice little crossover episode anyway, so it's going to be good. Yes, this is episode 75. The last episode we did was the Halloween special. We're not doing this weekly anymore, but I'm trying to do it frequently, so fortnightly, monthly. I still haven't figured out a cadence for this yet, so I do apologise, but hope you guys will enjoy the podcast anyway. We got lots to discuss, including the Game Awards, 3 years of Xbox and PlayStation 5, and also the PlayStation Portal and why it's a piece of junk. And we will get into that later on in the topic. So, as we always start off every single podcast, we start off with, what have we been playing? I've got quite a lot to cover. I don't know if you want to go first, or should I go first? What do you think?
Oh, I've only got one thing really I want to talk about,
Okay.
so I might as well just get it out of the way. And that's I've been playing the Metal Gear collection. So obviously I know, Lewis, you're a big Metal Gear fan, same as myself.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about yourself, but I've always just been the Metal Gear Solid series. So I've played,
Yes.
all the Metal Gear Solids, but I've never gone and played the original Metal Gear that were on the MSX or whatever it was.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've never gone and experienced them. So I thought, right, well, now's the time. Let's dive in. And so I've played Metal Gear Solid all the way through. And that game came out in 1987, right? So 2 years before I graced this planet.
Me too.
Before the year of our Lord. Oh, 1989.
Yeah.
The best year,
Yeah.
yeah, they look back. They say, well, there's three events that happened in 1989. You had the fall of the Berlin Wall, and you had the birth of us, right?
Yeah.
So those are the
There you
three
go.
things they said. This is our mark on history. But yeah, so I went back, and I tell you what, dude, it's wild going back and playing a game that old, because without a guide, I think it would have been near impossible to do. Like, so hard. The cool thing about it is that going back and seeing where the series kind of began, you can then take stock of everything that Metal Gear Solid does. So, like on Metal Gear Solid, you got the parts where you go up and you can identify which parts of the wall have been newly concreted because they're a different color.
Yeah.
And you plant C4 on them and blow the wall up to go through, right?
Yeah.
Well, Metal Gear has that, except there's no way to tell which wall is one you can break. So it would expect you on one part, or actually 3 times throughout the game, to go around and knock on every single wall in an area, right? Which is everything looks identical. So just a big square that you'd have to go and punch every inch until you see a little triangle come up. And it's like,
no. That's awful.
It's wild, mate. It's wild. And so without a guide, I would have been there for hours just punching walls.
Yeah.
If I even figured that out, I don't think I would have even got that far. But yeah, great though. Really, really fun.
Makes me think of like the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. It's like, oh, you need to burn that bush to get into a certain area. It's like, how the hell would I have known that? Like, how you meant? Yeah, obviously, like gaming, like as we've come so far in like the last 20, 30 years of gaming, like the signposting and stuff has become a lot more clearer, a lot better. Yeah, I totally understand that. I need to play those original Metal Gear games. I haven't played them, but I've heard they're really interesting to look back at now because they got a lot of the original characters and stuff, and like the story does tie into that. Like the later Metal Gear games do have stories that tie into that one, which is like. Like Grey Fox and all that is a big thing in the original ones, isn't it? If I remember.
That's right. So you save in Metal Gear, and then in Metal Gear 2 is the events that are most related to, say, Metal Gear Solid. Because Metal Gear 2 is where they're always mentioning Metal Gear Solid about Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And about what happened in Zanzibar land. And I've always been like, what is Zanzibar land? What even happened here?
Yeah.
And so I read, like, as part of the original Metal Gear Solid, there was like an option where you can go in and read, and it was like the story so far, and you could read it. So I did that, so I kind of had a vague idea. But now actually playing it through and seeing the events happen is really quite nice. And it does add like a lot of extra context to stuff. And there's a juicy platinum for getting Metal Gear 1 and 2 done. So
Nice.
that's what I'm working towards. Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done, doesn't it?
Do you have that sound effect on board when on the?
At all times.
You have it
At all
ready?
times. If I had earned the platinum, then I definitely would have been playing it here. But unfortunately, I've only completed fully Metal Gear 1, so still working on Metal Gear 2.
Okay. I mean, there is a reason why I just brought that sound effect up, because the games I've been playing, one of them is Spider-Man 2, which I have now got the platinum. Way!
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
If you want to play the sound effect, I'll be quite chuffed.
I'll have to add it in. Hold
Okay.
on. You might have to
Put
just
you on the spot a
skip
little bit.
tiny bit ahead, with the magic of editing, and then it seemed like I had this all prepared for you. Okay.
A few moments later.
Ooh, that's a platinum.
Yeah, yeah! I got a platinum. Woo! My 15th platinum. 5 of my 15 platinums are Spider-Man related, which is hilarious because I got Spider-Man Miles Morales PS4 and PS5. I got Spider-Man 1 PS4 and PS5, and now I got Spider-Man 2. So there's literally 5 out of my 15 platinums are all Spider-Man.
Wow.
So yeah. I like Spider-Man. What can I say? My favourite game on my PS5. I think, yeah, that is my favourite PS5 game. And and ironically, it's still not my game of the year, or probably even like, yeah, I'm saying give it like a 9 out of 10. I think it's a very good game, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, but we're an Xbox podcast, damn it, so I can't talk about it too much. But no, easy platinum, and a lot of people are like going, oh, it only takes you 25 hours to platinum it. I'm like, that's great. Yes, please, more of that. I would like that. I like the idea of having a game I can spend hours and hours on, and then I'm done, and then I can just uninstall it, and I'm done, and I can move on with my life and go on to the next game, instead of having stuff that I'm stuck playing forever. Like, I love Starfield, but I've still got like, I've spent like 200 hours in that game, and I've still got like 10 achievements to do on it, and I'm like, nah. Like, I'm level 41, and there's an achievement for getting to level 100, so I'm not even halfway to that achievement yet, and I must have spent like 200 hours in that game. So I'm like, yeah. Alice, my co-host, she basically farmed stuff to get those levels up. That seems like the only way you can do it, like in a reasonable time, is just to farm and like break the game. I'm not going to do that. I don't like doing that. I prefer just to play it normally. But yeah, so give me a games with easy achievements or doable achievements, yes please. I don't like achievements where like spend 600 hours on this game or something. Well, I'm not going to do that. Can you like give me reasonable achievements, please?
This is the thing. There is something to be said about a game where, like you say, that you can play, you can experience, see it through, and then just put it to bed.
Yeah.
It's done. And I think some of my favorite gaming experiences are those. Like. Like a live service game or something like that, I guess, you can have like, infinite time with something like Fortnite or Apex or something like that, right? But it is nice to be able to just dive in, put a weekend or a week away and just cane it and just have that be everything and then move on like a good series.
Exactly.
8 hours for a series and that's it then.
Perfect.
And then you're like, oh, yeah, got another couple of years to wait now. And that's fantastic. And that's how I enjoy my gaming too.
That's exactly what I liked. It's not enough games like that, unfortunately. But hey, we'll see. Hopefully, the only problem I have with it, as I said this on Twitter as well, is that now my PlayStation's gonna be collecting dust until like June next year, or like God knows when. So I don't know the next time I'm gonna be playing my PS5. Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, when this Wolverine comes out, maybe, or Ghost of Tsushima 2. I think those will probably be the next games I will really want to play on the PS5.
Not interested in Helldivers?
I'm not sure. It's like, it looks interesting. Third-person shooter. Like the original was above head, wasn't it? It was like
yeah, top down.
Top down. That's it. I couldn't above head. That's not the term. Top down is the right term. Yeah, yeah. It's a top down shooter.
Head.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's third person, so it kind of reminds me of Gears almost. Like it looks kind of like a Gear, but it's all like Space Marines and it looks good actually. I'm actually interested in trying it out, so I might play it. If you guys if you have room for a third or a fourth, I'd be
We
down to try
definitely
it.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's 4-player. So
Ooh.
me, Phil, and Spence already pre-ordered it. We've already got it on the back book, and it's just one of those games that's, if it's like the original, which it seems to be, challenging.
Right.
Friendly fire is definitely on.
Uh-oh.
You got to really work hard together. And it's not like Gears. It's not like a cover-based shooter or anything.
No.
It's just a tactical shooter.
Ooh.
And you just work in to cover each other, and yeah, it's really fun. And
Yeah.
the it's one of those games where the more you kind of play, the better your decision making gets, and then kind of in a way the less fun it becomes, because the most fun is where you're accidentally killing each other, dropping your nukes on each other.
Sounds
Like
fun.
you're really accidentally messing everything up while you're learning the game, and that's where it's the most fun, definitely.
I'm definitely going to try that. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'll definitely try and jump in that with you guys. Yeah, the only other game is like Foam Stars. Can't wait to play Foam Stars. No.
Yeah, I played the beta for it, right? And weirdly enough, right, after the Phone Stars beta came out, everyone was really excited by it. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is great! It feels really fun to play." Now, I never really liked Splatoon, so
Yeah.
I played it, and I was like, "I just do not get this at all,"
Oh,
and I
fair
didn't
enough.
like it. But weirdly enough, as much as I've been dunking on it a lot on on my podcast,
Yeah, I've been dunking on it.
people are generally quite happy with it. It's not
Oh,
like
okay.
Exoprimal, which was just bad all round. This actually might be all right.
Oh, fair enough.
But I know it's definitely not for me, mate. It's definitely not for me.
We can maybe put that in your fantasy draft for next year, eh? For Bear Foam
No
Star.
thanks. No, I'm fine. We can skip that one. We can leave that one out.
So what other stuff I've been playing quite a bit this week. So also I played Resident Evil 4 DLC Separate Ways, which you recommended to me. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't agree with Phil and Spencer that this is better than the base game, though. I think the base game is much more enjoyable. Basically, you got to face this crab guy like 3 times, and he was fucking annoying every time I faced him. It was like, go away, leave me alone. That was like the most annoying thing, was facing the same guy over and over and over again. I'm like, can you, like she goes, oh, I've got a headache, and then he'll teleport in front of you, and then one hit kill you. It's like, well, that's fun. I love that. Fucking dickhead.
It was challenging.
He was annoying.
It was challenging.
He was just bloody annoying, I thought. But anyway, yeah, I apart from that, obviously Ada Wong's good eye candy. I'll give her that. The game, Capcom know what they're doing. Like, I put a video up on our channel saying I play Resident Evil 4 for the story, and it's just Ada Wong's ass for like 5 seconds. It's like, you could tell Capcom have done that on purpose. It's like, oh, it's a new cutscene, so it's just, we're going to look at Ada's ass for like 10 seconds, then slowly pan up, and then we'll go into the dialogue. It's like, clearly someone's pandering there. So yeah, that's on our channel. If you want to see Ada Wong's ass from Resident Evil 4, it's on our channel, on our shorts. So have fun. Don't have too much fun. That's no. We'll skip past that. But no, I enjoyed Separate Ways. Thought it was good. Is it like, I never played Separate Ways on the original Resident Evil 4. Like, I played the original Resident Evil 4, but I never played the extra content with Separate Ways and stuff. So it was nice to get like a fresh perspective on Resident Evil 4, even though everyone's already played that version already before, would have already had that experience. But I don't know. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Ada's voice actor still needs work. I don't know what's going on with the voice acting in that. But yeah, I thought it was interesting just to see a different point of view of the same game, just from like a different angle. I thought the best bit was fighting the giant. I think that was quite fun. Very Attack on Titan, which is just like flying around with a zip wire, like slashing him. I thought that was brilliant. That was like my favorite part of the whole thing. But yeah, how long has it been out for, Separate Ways, by the way? Because I is it quite new?
Came out, yeah, relatively new. Came out what? Late September, October,
okay.
maybe.
I didn't realize he
so
was that.
around there.
I didn't realize he was that recent until like I played it, and then I see loads of YouTubers playing it afterwards. It's like, oh, I guess it's only just come out recently. Then I guess. Yeah,
it's not
I
long
enjoyed
at
it.
all.
I enjoyed it. I would say the base game, I would say, is 10 out of 10. I'd say this is probably an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's still very enjoyable, but I'd say the base game's better personally. But it's nice to have like more content. If you enjoyed the original, here's another 10 hours for you to play a slightly different play style. So yeah, I liked it. So I'll take your recommendation on board, and I enjoyed it for what it was, for sure. Other games I've been playing Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. Yakuza, basically, just got a different name. It's very weird, and I'm enjoying it a lot because it's very odd.
Has this one got any of those pet building mechanics that we saw in that trailer for like that the new one that's coming out? Has it got anything
No.
like that, like any zoo stuff? No.
Not yet. No, it hasn't got the Animal Crossing stuff. The was it Doki Doki Island or whatever it's called. No,
Yeah.
There's a demo for. They got a demo for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on there, but you have to beat the game to get the demo. It's like, well, that's annoying. So I haven't got around to doing that yet. But no, you're a spy in this one. And you got you basically got like Spider-Man powers. You can like whip, you can like shoot spider webs at people and like whip them up. It's absolutely hysterical. I wanted to do a video where I just recorded that and said, "We have Spider-Man at home. We don't need Spider-Man 2. We got Spider-Man 2 at home." It's really funny and random. Like I think Yakuza is like are you a Yakuza fan? Have you played many of the games or?
No, never. So
No.
when the series was first coming out and was shown on PS2, I remember the official PlayStation magazine was all over it, right? They loved it. But I never dove in, and I never have. And the more I see about it, well, the only things I know really is that you're a Yakuza guy, so it's kind of like GTA, except you got a really in-depth karaoke mode.
Yes.
And that's pretty much all I know. That's pretty much all I know.
The karaoke. I was just about to bring up the karaoke. I mean, it's a karaoke game with Yakuza stuff around it. The karaoke game's the best part. Yeah. Oh, it's so random. It's like the only game I've ever like played where it's like it's serious crime drama and it's really like serious and dark. And then 2 seconds later, you're singing karaoke in a bar. And it's like really wacky and odd. It goes from one extreme to the other, like all the time. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I've played a bit of Yakuza 0. I played a little bit of Like a Dragon when it came out for the Xbox Series X because I was like, well, launch title. And I played a little bit of this one because I was interested in Infinite Wealth, so I thought I'd play this new one and try it out. It's just it's a masher. It's like after playing Spider-Man 2, it does feel like bit like almost like limited, like when it's just literally X X X X X X X X X X X punch 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 punch. Whereas in Spider-Man, I'm like doing backflip, counter, grab a box, spin the box around, throw the box. It's like where it's like it's just basically it's a combat game where it's a bit more limited, but it's still enjoyable. I enjoyed it. It's very random. There's no English dub at the moment for it, which is a bit disappointing. So it's like watching an anime with subtitles, which I struggle with because I got dyslexia and dyspraxia. So I struggle with reading text and playing stuff at the same time. So which is annoying. Apart from that, it's fun though. Yeah, apparently they are bringing English voice actors to this, but there's a controversy around the voice actor of this game called Yong Yang. Have you ever heard of Yong Yang? He's a YouTuber.
No.
Yeah,
I have. Yeah, of course. He does video game news stuff, doesn't he?
So he's doing the voice of the main character in the new Yakuza, and it's bad. It's really bad.
No,
it's really bad. I'm sorry. I like Yong Yang. He seems like a nice guy, but the voice, oh my god, the voice acting is not good. It is really bad. And it's like, oh no, what have you done? And I want to play it. I want to play it in English as well because as I said, I struggle with the subtitles because of my because I got dyslexia and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I've seen a lot of people kicking off online about the voice acting. I don't think it's bad enough that you should be kicking off about it. It's not. It's like but I don't know. And he's blocking people online and stuff who criticize him and stuff like that. So it's kind of become a bit of a controversy. So, yay!
Oh, no.
But yeah.
Oh no!
Like a Dragon Gaiden, Man Who Erased His Name, bit of fun. If you want to try out a Yakuza game, jump into it. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I'm really looking forward to next year, and I think I'm actually going to pick that up. I'm actually really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the only other game I've been playing this week is Halo Infinite. They've just dropped the Halo 3 Refueled playlist, where they've recreated all the maps from Halo 3. Yay! So I was thinking like, ooh, this is a lot of fun. I love Halo 3. Let's play some Halo. I was thinking earlier that it was interesting that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is just all old Call of Duty maps, and now Halo's just brought back all the old Halo maps. So it's like being in 2008 all over again. What's going on?
Oh my god, the best time in gaming, mate. Best time.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is Halo haven't charged you £70 for the pleasure of that,
Yeah.
which is quite nice,
Yes.
right? So
yeah. Yeah, it's a free update. Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty decent. So I like that. Yeah, so I've been playing that. I played that last night for a couple of hours. It plays like the original Halos. It's like the same maps, just like up-resed 4K. You know, they've been made by the community and they've just basically put them into a playlist. But hey, it works. It's really good. So really enjoyed that. Yeah, just I'm gonna play more of it later for sure. That's the only other thing I've really been playing is a bit of Halo. Love me some Halo. Halo 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. So, like, yeah, what can I say? Just I love that multiplayer. Give me more of it, please. Have you played anything else this week, or should we move on to the news?
no, nothing else. Let's move it on
Yeah.
to the news.
The news.
News.
I don't know. Alice likes all the fancy transition stuff. I quite like just talking bollocks and just pretend, just editing it, like not just going straight through it like this. I prefer just to do that, honestly. Just go news.
Fair enough.
I like being completely unprofessional and off the cuff. Let's go. Anyway, so the biggest news this week is the Game Award nominees have come out for the Keeleys. Ooh, Jeff Keighley being a Sony pony yet again. Oh, Jeff, what have you done? Are you excited for the Game Awards, Davey?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's always, now that E3's gone, you know, what was
true.
E3 is dead. This is the only time of the year that you get a proper show. You know,
Yeah.
like you know,
fair.
directs and showcases and all these different things, they're okay, but they're never as good as somebody coming out on stage and talking through it. So it's like the only real event we have now for gaming. So I really do look forward to it every year.
Yeah, I mean, I get that as like an announcement show, it's great, but as an actual award show, it's kind of pants. Like they never the awards themselves always seem to be like second fiddle to like, oh, and then there's this announcement here. Ooh, I wonder if we'll see Hellblade for the 4th time without actual any gameplay again. Like, come on now.
Like, tell you what, it's about time, not to derail this 100%, but it's about damn time they show something for that game, innit?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be coming out this year now, or next year. It's supposed to be coming out 2024, so fingers crossed.
It's wild. It's wild. And the amount of people that are like, oh no, that's definitely gameplay. It's like, no, it ain't. Like, I remember the Killzone 2 trailer. No, that ain't gameplay. Like, no chance.
I mean,
no way.
It's as much gameplay as like in Spider-Man 2 where you're pushing a button for like something to happen. Like it's like a cutscene, yeah. Essentially it's a cutscene, which is nice, but you know, it's in engine. Yay. But yeah, we're not really here to discuss what we think's going to be at the Game Awards. Maybe we'll do that next week or whenever we do our next podcast. But we're here to discuss the nominees. I got a big list of stuff I want to discuss. So we'll just crack on with... We'll start off with the most important one. Game of the Year 2023. So Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, Baldur's Gate 3, Mario Wonder, and Zelda. I believe that's all of them. I'm remembering that off the top of my head. I don't have the list up, but that was just off the top of my head, off the cuff.
Great memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, great memory.
I think all of them deserve to be up for Game of the Year. Me personally, I had a lot more fun with Starfield than I did Spider-Man, but that's just a personal taste thing. I mean, like, obviously, there's a video on our channel now of me going, Starfield's been snubbed. But really, that's just that was more of an SEO kind of thing. Because I know people react more to me being angry if I was just like, no one would care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. And you got to play the game. You got to play the game.
Yeah, and also like, people will, that's clickbait, whatever. But this is a list of snubbed stuff. So I put down games that I think could have been up for it. So like Starfield got 1 award out of 31 awards. It was only nominated for one award, which is like that's I think that's more of what's annoying me than anything. If I can understand it not being up for Game of the Year, because a lot of people, it's like Marmite, a lot of people don't like it, a lot of people like it. But the music in Starfield is amazing, the sound effects, the art style, the narrative, the writing, like a lot of it is really good. I don't understand how it only got nominated for one award. The whole, out of all 31 awards, it only got one nomination.
Which one is it up for?
Best RPG, which Baldur's Gate's going to win. But
Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot Baldur's Gate's in there. Yeah.
I mean, that's at the end of the day. I was going to say, like, the thing with the Game Awards is like Zelda and Baldur's Gate are going to win everything anyway. So who really cares who's nominated? Because no one else is winning anything.
I think you're right.
But yeah, so I mean, Starfield's the main snub for me. But then I think one of your Game of the Years is Final Fantasy 16. Are you upset that didn't make it into the Game of the Year conversation?
I mean, it's a difficult one because for me, it's my personal Game of the Year, right? Definitely is. But when you compare it to, like you've already mentioned, the likes of like Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, and even RE4, I'd even chuck that in on the same level, right? They're all just so good that this year is just stacked.
Oh yeah.
And you've got to really knock it out the park. I think for me, the categories that FF16 has been put up for in terms of its music and in terms of its voice acting, I reckon it's going to sweep. I reckon it's going to absolutely sweep. The thing that I don't get though, right, and you mentioned about RPG, is that for whatever reason, FF16 is in Best RPG when it really isn't an RPG. It's an action game. So it's weird that it's even there because it doesn't seem like as if it fits there. Whereas I think if it was in action, I think it would sweep that category. I think it would absolutely body everything there.
Yeah.
But it's not been put in there for some reason.
Liza P is also down for Best RPG, when I would say that's an action game as well. I don't understand why Liza P is down as the Best RPG either. The kind of the categories don't make any sense to me, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I haven't played Liza P yet. I haven't played it. But if it's anything like the Souls games that came before it, you know, the ones that have really, you know, like inspired Liza P, like Bloodborne and everything else, then I could see that being classed as an RPG. I really can, because it is all about leveling up your character. You know, you spec into different abilities, into different weapon classes, that kind of thing. It is more of an RPG than an action game, right? Something like Souls is, I would say, even though it doesn't have. And I suppose this is where category is always a difficult thing, because like a traditional RPG is something like, as you said, like Starfield, or like an old school Final Fantasy where it had like proper class-based systems and things like that. Nowadays, so many things are like RPG light, aren't they?
Yes.
Where you got like skill trees, or you got different things you spec to.
Exactly. I was going to say, like,
now.
Even like Spider-Man 2 has RPG elements. Like, literally every game ever has RPG elements now. So yeah, I can totally get that. Yeah, the categories for this year are a bit strange. The only other two games I would say got really snubbed: Octopath Traveler 2 and Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't played either of those games, but I've heard good things about both. Hogwarts Legacy, I think, probably down to the J.K. Rowling controversy. I imagine that it didn't get any nominations, but that's a shame that a game's is getting snubbed because of something that's out of its control and not really anything to do with it. It seems a bit odd to me. I haven't played it, but I've heard good things about Hogwarts Legacy, and it's one of the best-selling games of the year as well. So, I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's been snubbed because of J.K. Rowling, or do you think it's just not made the cut? I don't know.
I think it's a bit of a combination, right? I think it's a combination of things. When you release a game so early in the year, it's always quite hard then to be able to come up in conversation at the end of the year. And recency bias is a real thing that goes through all of us, you know, let alone video game critics, because they're the ones that put these kind of lists together, and then the public obviously have their say, don't they, on a lot of things. So I think that's probably half the battle, is that it came out so early that it's quite hard to be able to carry forward that kind of momentum into this part of the year. So I think that definitely goes against it. Yeah. And then maybe there is another side of it where people are afraid to kind of back it and have it out there. Personally, I think that's a really pussy-ass move if someone is scared. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you're entitled to like what you like, right? And for me, I mean, the recency bias thing does make a bit of sense, but then Dead Space did manage to come in the awards,
Yeah.
and it got in there for best audio design.
Yeah.
So then you think, right, well, the presentation front for Hogwarts looked insane,
Yeah.
like absolutely insane. It looks wild. And as you said, it sold absolutely gangbusters this year. You know, huge, huge launch. So I'm surprised it didn't come up in anywhere. It's just wild to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
What I was also going to say is that I find it interesting because, like, Starfield and Hogwarts and stuff was a bit more mainstream. It got more into the zeitgeist and, like, popular culture, which I think is interesting because, like, it always makes me think of, like, the Oscars and stuff, that, like, films like Star Wars or, like, basically, like, popular films will never get nominated for these big awards, like, ever. Like I feel like critics and mainstream audiences have a different tastes, and I feel like Starfield is, like, probably the audience's game of the year. I'd imagine a lot, like, it sold really well, and a lot of people really love it, but it's not got any nominations at all, which is, like, really interesting. And then obviously Call of Duty, which is garbage this year, but it still sold a lot. And that's got no nominations either. So,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you can put Starfield in that camp. Sure, it sold well, but I mean, the Game of the Year list, these are all really popular games, right? Like, you know,
like Spider-Man.
I mean, yeah, Spidey's there. Like Tears of the Kingdom, when that launched earlier this year, that was all everyone was talking about, right? Like it was took over Twitter. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And same with Spidey has been doing at the moment. So I don't know. I wouldn't give Starfield that pass to say that's what it is. I think it's just a case that, for me anyway, looking from the outside in, it doesn't do enough to get anywhere near the categories. It's not a technical masterpiece. It's not impressive really on a visual front in any way, shape, or form. I can't speak on the score and the music or anything like that, but it seems like as if it's just more of the same, right? In terms of like what they did before. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that, you know, Bethesda do make some incredible games that have a lot of legs.
Yeah.
But it's not like when Skyrim came out, right? And Skyrim was like huge and it was like new and it felt like really exciting. Whereas this was like, it's just the same kind of buggy mess that we're used to with Bethesda, right? So there's that kind of thing.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good game, high quality in a lot of ways. I think it got a lot more criticism than it deserved personally, but that's just my personal take on it. But I can understand it not being up for Game of the Year, as I said earlier. I'm just disappointed they didn't get nominated for any of the other awards. It's kind of like a bit of a bummer, but there you go. It's just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, like Game of the Year, I'm interested. I voted for Zelda. That's got my vote personally. I don't know if you voted on it at all. Did you vote on it?
Haven't yet. I
Right.
think out of the choices I've got there, my vote should probably go Zelda because that's the only game this year I believe I've given a solid 10 out of 10, and I haven't even finished it, but I know it's just incredible. But after how much I love Separate Ways and how much I love the original, I might even chuck RE4 in a vote.
Ooh.
Yeah, I might
no,
do.
it's fair. So I mean, that's later on in this. I got like a big list of stuff to discuss. But I think we'll discuss it now. Do you think that a remake or a remaster should be up for Game of the Year? I personally think, yeah, Resident Evil 4 deserves it. I think it's really worth it. But I've seen this Discord online a lot. I think a lot of people have been saying that they don't think Resident Evil 4 deserves it because it's a remake. I mean, what do you think? I personally think it is, but
I think it's a bit of a muddy issue because it all depends on what kind of style of remake they go down. So, for example, Dead Space, right, is pretty much a one-to-one remake. There's improvements which came from like Dead Space 2 and 3 that they brought back into Dead Space 1 to improve the experience. But realistically, you're playing the same Dead Space experience that we played back in 2008, right? There's no real crazy differences. It's kind of the same way that like RE1 remake is to RE1, right? That it's the best version of that, and it's a deeper, more nuanced experience compared to the original. But it doesn't change too much, right? Whereas RE4 remake is completely different to base RE4. Like,
That's true.
the two games side by side, the same kind of key plot events happen, but that's about it. Game plays completely differently. It's actually a horror game. It's actually got like survival management and survival horror parts to it, whereas the original definitely doesn't. So I think RE4 remake should be here because it is so tonally different. Whereas something like Dead Space, I'm not surprised isn't here because I don't think it does enough to separate itself out. And that doesn't take away from the fact that Dead Space remake is incredible. I love it. But when it comes to Game of the Year voting, I think there's a big difference. It's the same reason that, you know, if they do another remake of, say, Ocarina of Time, and it's exactly the same, just prettier, should that be up? No. Even though it's like the best game ever, right? It shouldn't be there.
Well, a Metroid Prime Remastered came out this year. I gave that a 10 out of 10, but I don't think that should be up for Game of the Year either. It's just a remaster of of a really, really good GameCube game. But I agree with you when it comes to Resident Evil 4. It's like I was gonna say, like the thing I always say with Resident Evil 4 is you play the intro scene where you're trying to get like survive in the village. It's very similar to the original, but it's different enough that you feel it's like a new experience. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this village. It looks very similar, but well, actually, that's a different place. This platform's in a different place. Oh, I don't remember this enemy being here. It's changed enough that it feels new and fresh, and I think it's well deserving of Game of the Year. It's one of my Game of the Years as well. I would say it's like in my top 4 games of the year for sure. I think it's worth it. I think it's a very good game. But I wanted to be Devil's Avocado. Wanted to speak for the people who say that online, which I think it's a fair opinion to have. I think maybe what they could do in the future Game Awards is maybe have a remake / remastered category. I think that's something they should probably do because remakes and remasters are becoming more and more of a thing, and because companies are too scared to make new things, so have a remake remaster award. I mean, there's loads of really good ones. As we've just said a couple ourselves, Dead Space. You can have Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, Metroid Prime Remastered, and I'm sure there's others that I could think of. we could get this category sorted for this year. But yeah, I still think Resident Evil 4 deserves a nom, so I'm not too mad. Okay, next up, Bungie / Destiny 2 is up for the best community after firing all their community staff. And all the fans hating it and being mad at Bungie, and it makes no bloody sense why that would be up for best community.
So yeah, the categories they got for this right now, this is what they say about best community support. They say it's recognizing the game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. And the nominees they got for this: Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky, right? Those are the people up there. I mean, Destiny 2 is wild, like you say. I think it's absolutely crazy. Now, I'm not part of the Destiny 2 community. I'm not really too involved with it.
No.
But from the news I've been covering on in PS We Trust lately, is not good over on the Destiny 2 front. So I'm very surprised this is here, especially with how much the player base at the moment seems to be escaping the game. Now, the one that I'm surprised about didn't get a mention here is Dead by Daylight.
Ooh, yeah.
So fucking shocked it didn't get anything.
That's fair.
Because Dead by Daylight community has been eating well. Now, like any community, no one's ever truly happy, right? Like, all I go online, obviously I play a lot of Apex Legends, I play a lot of Dead by Daylight, and all the community are always complaining about, oh, the devs aren't listening to this, they're not patching this, they're not doing that, they're not doing this. But then I think about Dead by Daylight this year, and they've had the Nick Cage update, right? So Nick Cage came into the game.
Yeah.
They brought the Xenomorph in, they brought a host of new killers, and now they got Chucky.
Ooh.
It's like, I mean, what more do you want from them at the moment? They're doing so much, and it's all just these updates they just keep on putting into the game and trying to make it better. And are they succeeding in that? Probably not fully, but content out the wazoo, and that's what you want from a live service game. And especially when they're leaning now, they just brought back the Stranger Things add-ons, which
Yeah.
went away for a couple of years. So they've just got the license back. So all the Stranger Things map, Hawkins is back. You can buy the Demogorgon again. You can buy like all the survivors like Nancy and Steve and all these.
Okay.
So I think they're killing it, and I'm surprised they're not here. That's the big takeaway from me here.
I saw the trailer for the Stranger Things being in there, and I'm like, I thought the Stranger Things were already in there, so that makes... I didn't realise they had been removed and been put back in. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, for me, personally, I think 343 deserves a nod on this one. They've really fixed Halo, and, like, the Halo community's back. Everyone seems to be loving Halo Infinite at the moment. Season 5 was absolutely incredible. As I said earlier, they got the Halo 3 maps in the new Halo playlist. It's like they've managed to save the game, and the community's been really good. And like, if it wasn't for the community, Halo would be dead. Like, literally, the community has saved this game. I think the community support. If there's any nod, it should have had. It should have been for this one, personally. I think, but there you go. It's just, I think it's weird that you put Bungie in there. I think that's very odd, personally, but there you go. It's Jeff Keighley for you. What do you expect? So these two kind of tie in together, these next two subjects I wanted to talk about. So I mentioned this before the show, that people have been going on about an Xbox media bias. Ooh, is Xbox being snubbed every year? Does Jeff Keighley have beef with Xbox? Oh, I personally don't think so, but it's worth looking into because people have been mentioning it. I think there is some kind of subconscious bias a little bit, but that's like per person. Like, I think everyone has their biases, right? And PlayStation's a more popular console, so to be honest, like, it makes sense that it would be nominated more. I mean, does that make sense to you? Like for me personally, I would vote for Xbox games over PlayStation games, so I'm biased. And you would probably be biased for PlayStation games because you play PlayStation more. But I don't think there's like a big conspiracy. Like, don't get your tinfoil hats out, people. I don't know what you think. Do you think there's some kind of media bias?
No, I really don't. No, and I think ultimately what this should show, right? And I think this would be quite interesting. And I think we should probably do this. I probably should have prepped this before going in. But
No, that's cool.
What I've done is I pulled up the last what's this? The last 9 years or 10 years worth of the Game Award winners, right?
Oh God.
And what I think we should do is we should go on Metacritic and have a look for those years what the highest scoring game is on Xbox for each of those years, and then we
Okay.
can see then if there is something. Because say for example, like last year, obviously Elden Ring won, right?
Yes, which was fair.
And I think the second place when it comes to most awards was God of War,
God of
Ragnarok.
War, Ragnarok, yeah.
Last year, we know, we don't even have to Google. Last year, we know it was a write-off for Xbox. It wasn't a great year, was it?
No.
2022.
It was Pentiment got 10 out of 10s and did quite well, and Grounded.
Vampire Survivors? And Vampire Survivors?
Oh yeah,
Was
but that's not really an Xbox. It's kind of an Xbox exclusive, but it's not really. It's like a second party, so I wouldn't really count it, even though I love it. 2021 was egregious, I think, because Forza Horizon 5 was IGN's Game of the Year, and it had very high reviews, and it didn't even get a nomination, which I thought was a bit egregious for 2021. But then it's a racing game. It's like, it feels like there's, like, as you were saying earlier about the Oscars having their like thing, it's like, I feel like third-person action adventure games always get the nod over like racing or fighting games. Like, it'd be very odd. Like Street Fighter 6 was a great game this year. I wouldn't expect to see that in Game of the Year either, because they don't. There seems to be certain genres that seem to get picked over others. I guess I don't know, or maybe I'm being crazy.
No, I think you're right. I think like a racing game can only do so much, right? There's no narrative, is there, in a racing game?
No.
So it could have like the best. It's the same way that you won't really see like a shooter. So I wouldn't expect to see like
Not again.
Apex Legends win, right? Even though to me it's got like the best shooting ever, right? I love what they've done there over at Respawn, but when you compare that to something that's got incredible gameplay and a great story, that trumps it, doesn't it, straight away? And I think that's where racing games kind of get let down in that aspect. But I'm going on to Metacritic now because I think this would just be quite interesting to be able to frame the conversation in terms of where we go. And so I'll put it to Xbox Series. I'll put it from Here we go. So these are the best games on the platform at the moment, right? So there's 323 games here. I'm ranking it by Metascore, and I'm doing it from release year. I'm going to go back as far as, well, I don't know how far back this goes. Let's have a look.
Yeah, we
It's
probably
a
should have
slider
prepped
which goes all
this.
the way back to 1910. Right.
What?
So obviously there's no game. Yeah, there's no games back there. But I'm going through here now, and I'm gonna go through this. Is ranked from the top game on Xbox is Elden Ring, right? A 96 on Metacritic.
Great game.
I'm gonna go down until I find an exclusive, right? So you got Forza Horizon 5, as you mentioned.
Yep.
So that's 7th on the list at a 92. You got Flight Sim. Again, that would fall similar vein to the problem that Forza Horizon has in terms of
niche.
You know,
It's a niche.
it's very niche, and it's just a sim. And apart from that, my friend, I'm now on.
We're talking about
page 2.
Okay.
So I'm in the top 50 now. That's it.
Is that
yeah,
like
that's it.
ever, or are we talking like the last 10 years, or like what are we talking here?
I got, judging on this, what games to play on your Xbox Series X and S?
Oh,
platform?
Series X. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So Series X.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's fair, because obviously Combat Evolved, like the original Halo trilogy, were really well received, obviously, and the original Gears of Wars and stuff. But yeah, recent history, I guess, like as I said, Pentiment did really well, and Forza. But I feel like Forza's the more egregious than Starfield, to be honest. I'm still annoyed by that 2 years later. The Forza didn't get a nod. But, you know, that's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going back through this. I've added Xbox One in as well into this.
Also,
and there's just nothing.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that Hi-Fi Rush was really good this year as well, and I would have liked to have seen that in the Game of the Year, but that has got some love, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, it is interesting about the media biased narrative. I don't know. I'm not really behind it. I mean, the whole Xbox One generation, Xbox kind of just gave up on gaming, and now they're starting to come back. So it makes sense that there was no nominations for those years. I do think it's a bit weird that Forza Horizon didn't get the nod, or like a single nomination, or Starfield didn't get a single nomination. I think that's a bit strange. But you know, look, it's Jeff. You know, it's Jeff Keighley in it. You know, like it's his opinion at the end of the day, or his friends, or whoever it's opinions at the end of the day, isn't it? It's not.
It's game critics, right? So all game critics go together and they put together their lists. They have to put together their list for the best games, and then the winners of those, whoever gets the most popular, go into the Game of the Year category, and then it goes from there, right? So that's how it works. And yeah, there's looking over these past number of years. I think for me personally, looking from the outside in, as not an Xbox owner, right, that it just shows that Xbox just need to up the game. They really do. And Starfield is a great start. You know, this year is definitely a huge turning point from where it was a year ago, or 2 years ago, or even 3 years ago. So I'm hoping that this is just a start, and you start looking from the outside in. They're just not there yet. And until they are, they're not going to be on this list. And I think it's as simple as that. And especially with how much, you know, third-party publishers are really up their game with the likes of like Baldur's Gate and Resident Evil 4 this year.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
Nintendo and Sony is showing up, but Xbox just ain't there yet.
I think if Starfield came out last year or came out next year, it would definitely get a nomination for Game of the Year. I just think this year has been stacked.
Last year was nuts, bro. Last year you had Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, and Horizon. I mean,
I would say those two. Horizon is a bit lower down. God of War and Elden Ring, I agree with. It's the same as this year, though. Zelda and Baldur's Gate, they're the top two. and then everything else is just there to fill the
Yeah.
spaces. I don't know. I think if it was a quieter year, I think it would have had more of a chance. I don't.
Yeah.
But I was going to say the thing that contradicts the Xbox media bias is the Hi-Fi Rush, and also this also flies in the face of the recency bias we were talking about as well, because this came out in January. Is up for 5 different awards in the Game Awards this year. That's Xbox's best game this year. I really loved Hi-Fi Rush. So I just got a list on my phone of. So it's up for best action game, best art direction, best audio design, best score and music, and innovation and accessibility. So it's up for 5 different awards. So, you know, if there is an Xbox media bias, it doesn't count this Tango Gameworks. They somehow slip through the net. So, you know, you can't say there's a media bias and then Hi-Fi Rush gets 5 different nominations for 5 different awards. I would have loved to have seen it got the nod for Game of the Year, but I could see it. The Game of the Year was such a stacked year this year. I could see why it didn't get the nom for that. But I love Hi-Fi Rush. I hope it wins some awards. I voted for on my votes. I voted for every time Hi-Fi Rush was up for something. I voted for it because I think it definitely deserves flowers. It's one of the best new IPs Xbox has made in years. So I'm very excited to see it get all these nominations, and it's well deserved. I'm shocked as well. I didn't think it was going to get any nominations because it was so early in the year, and like it's like a more of a niche kind of game. I'm shocked that it got so many nominations, but it's done really well. So I'm happy with that. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think it's better than God of War. All right. Which I love saying. Just wind PlayStation fans up. I don't. They're very totally different games. But yeah, I mean, I just enjoy. They're both hack and slash games. That's like my logic anyway. They're both hack and slash games. I just have more fun with Hi-Fi Rush personally, but it's more of a comedy game, so it's like it's really hard. It is really comparing apples and oranges there, but hey. I just like to say it because I know it pisses people off, so I always say.
Hey, until you complete God of War Ragnarok, I'm not going to hear any of this God of War smack, all right? Because
I like God of War 18.
That's the game
good.
to beat this gen, bro. That's the game to beat.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the reason I blow the desktop at PS5 and play it next year. Maybe I'll actually get around to finishing God of War. I played a bit of it, just didn't get that far into it. I just yeah, I need to go back to it for sure. I like 2018. I thought it was a good game. 2018. It's probably because I just went from one to the other, and it kind of just felt a bit burnt out by the whole thing. We discussed this in the Halloween episode, so
we did.
Yeah. What else is there? So I got a big list of stuff I wanted to discuss. So
sure.
Let's have a look. What other things do? We've talked about most of them actually, which is good. Right. Okay. Dave the Diver is up for best indie game, even though technically it's not an indie game. It's published by a big company, and Baldur's Gate 3 is technically an indie game, and it's not nominated for Indie Game of the Year because it's so popular, I guess. So basically, what does indie mean anymore? Because they're not actually following their own guidelines, because they're not actually indie games are not being nominated for Indie Game of the Year, and non-indie games are being nominated for Indie Game of the Year. It doesn't really make any sense. Even though Dave the Diver looks great, I think it looks like a really fun game. It's not an indie game, so why is it an Indie Game of the Year? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's what they've said here is they said for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system.
Yeah, and it's made inside the publisher system because it's Exxon, I think, makes. I think it's Exxon is the name of the company who made Dave the Diver. So it's like saying, like, is Hi-Fi Rush an indie game? No. It's by Xbox. Yeah. It's like, oh, but it looks like an indie game, so it counts. Like, no. Dave the Diver might be 8-bit, but it's not an indie game, sorry.
And wouldn't that be the same for Dredge as well? Because that's done by Team 17.
Oh, right. Yeah,
a well-known publisher. They do Worms, right? So.
Oh, yeah.
So that's weird as well. Like, the only ones here that I suppose potentially could come up, right, is Sea of Stars. And I imagine that's the one that's going to sweep. Yes. I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to absolutely slay that category. Maybe they were just trying to find ones. But do you know what? This is a bugbear for me, is that there's so many great, like, proper indie games that are incredible, and especially in like the scene that I follow in terms of like the horror scene, loads, man, like absolutely loads of great ones, and they never get the nods, like ever, on this.
No.
I know that's why there's been like the horror Game Awards, which have just started, and they're going out later on this year. But it does boggle the mind, and I suppose this is where, unfortunately, this is where the whole Game Awards thing does have a kind of fatal flaw in that it's at the whims of critics, right? And they can't know everything. They can't play everything, just like normal people can't. And so there's going to be parts that are missed. And I suppose maybe they're using this as just a way to spotlight some games that are smaller games, even though they don't fit the category that this actually says they should be in. But maybe they're worried that they wouldn't get a vote otherwise, and that's why they just bunged them in, kind of thing.
It's very confusing. Right. No, I feel like they should just like change it to like instead of call it best indie game and then have the description, game designed by a team of under 100 staff or something like a game made by a smaller team. That's it. That should be what it should be. That should be what it is. If you like want to do like, because it's not, as I said, the definition they use is incorrect, so it doesn't make any sense. And then by that definition, as I said, Baldur's Gate 3, which is up for Game of the Year, is technically an indie game. So by the same definition, so it's like okay, it's very strange. Like, oh, Last of Us Part 2 is the best indie game ever made. Like, come on now. Use your brain. It doesn't make any sense. What else? So that was literally... There's only... Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention, Cyberpunk 2077 is up for Best Ongoing Game. So basically, releasing a game 2 years ago was complete broken trash, and now it works. Now it counts. Now it gets an award, does it? Because now you fixed it. I don't think that counts as an ongoing game, honestly. Personally, I think, oh, we released a broken game, we fixed it, so now it's an ongoing game. It's like, well, okay, nice logic. like what? I don't...
Yeah, does anything that releases a DLC, does that then class as ongoing? Is that how it works now? So this is what they put it is: best ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Now, I suppose Cyberpunk does come into that because you said it was fucked and now it's working, right?
Yeah.
So would No Man's Sky have been in this category a few years ago?
I think it is in this category. Is it in the category? I haven't got the category.
No, it's not. So the category, best community, they're in for that. So the categories for the awards for these are either Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, right? So FF14, Fortnite, Genshin, Apex, they're definitely ongoing games, right? They are live service games. Cyberpunk's just weird.
Yes, it's a very odd one. They should.
Do you reckon it's just so they could get out what's his face on stage?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, do you reckon it's just so they can get him out? Like they're like, oh, we got to get Idris on. That'd be class.
I mean, he's up for best actor though already, so they don't really need to put him in another award. So
he won't win that though. Ben Starr's gonna sweep that for FF16, bro. Telling you now.
Yuri, not Spider-Man. Yuri.
No, I mean he's great. He was great, but it doesn't have the same. I didn't feel he had the same impact.
Not young yet for Yakuza.
Oh, he might do it. Yeah, as you were saying, the community loves that. So yeah, so you could get in there. That would surely spark Twitter off, wouldn't it?
Oh my god, people would love that. Yeah, it's a strange one. I feel like, again, it's just the awards they've set, the way they've set the awards up. Like I said earlier, they had a remake if they should have a remake / remastered award, they should have a DLC or expanded content award. Like that would just fix all of it. It's like, and then like, so I'm hoping the next year when the Starfield DLC comes out, then it's up for ongoing game then. If that's how the logic we're going with.
Yeah, why not?
Why isn't Resident Evil 4 in there? Because it's just got separate ways.
True. And it had a big, like, 1.8 gig patch.
And they added...
massive patch, 1.8 gig, where it just got, fixed a couple of bugs. best ongoing game.
Yeah, and they also added what's it called? What's it called? I was going to say Firefight. Mercenaries. That's
Mercenaries.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mercenaries.
they added Mercenaries after the game launched,
And-
so it's an ongoing game.
And VR mode coming out
there
pretty
you go.
soon. So best ongoing game.
Resident Evil 4.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's really it for the Game Awards. Just wanted to I mean, is there any game you think who would you vote for Game of the Year? I think we already said that. I said Zelda. I think you're going Resident Evil 4 probably, right?
Oh, I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to pull my mitts up and get Zelda done. Because I'm thinking about this now when it comes to for my own podcast from PS We Trust, who am I going to vote for? And right now, Zelda should probably clear it, I think. But then I'm like, ooh, I haven't finished it though. I may be 30 hours in, but I haven't finished it. So I feel like I need to get it done so at least I can then make a informed decision.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've played 4 out of the 6 games. So I need to go. I need to play Baldur's Gate and I need to play Alan Wake 2 really to really judge it. I think Alan Wake 2 scares the shit out of me though. I'm terrified to play Alan Wake 2. And then Baldur's Gate 3. I'm still waiting for the Xbox port to come out, which is supposed to be coming out this year. I could just play it on my PC because I got a new PC, so I could play Baldur's Gate on that. But
or any PlayStation. Get that dust off, innit?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I could get it for PlayStation.
Haptics going.
Yeah,
you
I love me some haptics. No, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I suppose I could just buy it for PS5. Yeah, didn't even think of that. Everyone says Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing. I've not played it, but I've heard good things. It doesn't look like my type of game, but then everyone says it's amazing, so I feel like I should try it. I don't know. Have you played it, or have you
No, I haven't. And do you know what the reason why is? Because I know I'd love it, but the time investment scares me. And when we're talking about, we were saying earlier on the show about these shorter experiences just really nice, right?
Yeah.
Like Spidey took me weeks to complete, and that's 25 hours. If I'm talking multi-100-hour experiences, I did 94 hours to platinum for FF16, and I couldn't do another 100-hour game this year. I can't. It felt like as if that was my job. It took me like 2 months to be able to do it. And people are they do it a weekend. They're like, oh, too short, not enough content. And you think, how? You didn't sleep. You physically couldn't have slept and done this, right? I don't understand how these people do play games like that. But maybe it's just being older and having a job and everything else, mate. Maybe that's our downfall. We need to win the lottery or the Ome's house, and then we can just retire and there's just our games and everyone can cook and clean for us and do all the adult stuff, and then we can just dedicate multi-100 hours to these games.
Or you should all subscribe to this channel and get our channel to 1 million subscribers, and then we can just do the podcast full time. That'd be great.
yeah
But yeah, no, I'm the same boat. I spent hundreds of hours on Starfield, spent hundreds of hours on Zelda, and I'm like, do I really have time for another massive game that's going to take up weeks of my life? Probably not. As I said, I've still got loads to do in Starfield. I've still got another 10 achievements to do on that game. I'll have to go back and play it at some point. But so yeah, I don't know. But I've heard Baldur's Gate's great. Let us know in the comments below if you've played Baldur's Gate. I would love to hear some feedback because I've heard some really good things. Yeah, so that's the Game Awards. Woo! And I just wanted to discuss one more news story before we moved on to our topic in this show, because we got a PlayStation expert, fanboy, I don't know. We got Davey here.
I'd probably say fanboy. Probably fanboy is probably the best way to put it, I guess.
The new PSP is out, a.k.a. the PlayStation Portal. Yay.
Woo.
I wanted to hear from your point of view. What do you think of the look of this system? Because I don't think you've bought it, have you? I don't think you're interested in buying it.
Fuck no.
No, I know.
Right. I'll go off on this. I've been on my own podcast on PS We Trust. I'm very much the outlier, right? So I'll just put that out there straight away. I'm not the voice of the PlayStation or anything else. In terms of 2 out of 3 of my of the podcast hosts for In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast.
Yeah.
2 of them are excited and are buying this device.
Oh no.
Me
Phil.
personally, Phil and Spence both really keen, really want it. They want to be able to sit on the sofa while their missuses are watching, like EastEnders, and they can play PlayStation. Whereas when you're actually a real man, you can tell your missus, you can sit downstairs, I'm going upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play my game the way I want to play it with my headset on. I don't have to listen to, whoever stabbed somebody else outside the chippy last night in bloody EastEnders, right? Don't need any of that distraction. So as a real man, no, I refuse to buy a PlayStation Portal.
Good.
I will say straight away, I really like the design of it, though. And I think when it was first shown, I was very much on the same line that you are, where I was like, it's just a screen between half a bloody DualSense. Like, what the hell?
Exactly.
But when I've seen it now, like I haven't seen it like in physical, I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but what I've seen videos of people playing it online, I'm like, oh, does look cool though. Like, it does look cool. And if there was a way that I could download games onto it, and play them on that, I would buy one in a fucking heartbeat. I'd buy one straight away. But with it being tethered to the device as it is at the moment, so you've got to have an internet connection which advises above 5 megabyte per second, which I think most people in the UK have that, right? Even on public transport. But I can't imagine it will play very well at 5 megabytes per second.
No, definitely not.
I cannot imagine a world where that works well. So, yeah, it's not for me. It's certainly not for me. And to me, it's a half step with a solution that we just didn't need on the platform in any way, shape, or form, especially where at the moment right now, you can just remote play to your phone, connect up a DualSense, and Bob's your uncle, right? The solutions already exist.
And it's cheaper.
And it's cheaper, yeah, because you've already got the device in your pocket with sometimes even a bigger screen. Just buy a shit tab. And, it's maxed out at 1080p. Just buy a shit tab. Or, better yet, don't be a fucking mug. Just buy another TV off Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly.
Get one for like 40 quid.
Yeah.
Done.
TV.
Done.
Yeah. No,
do that.
I totally agree with everything you've just said. I don't understand why this is a thing when you can literally just get a backbone attachment for your phone, or like Phil, he has the Steam Deck. I don't understand why he's buying one. He's got a Steam Deck. I don't understand. Because last time I heard, I knew Spencer was going to buy it. I didn't know Phil cracked. I didn't realize Phil cracked either. So that's Phil. I'm disappointed in you, man. If you're listening to this, I'm disappointed in you. I had higher expectations of you, mate. Honestly,
weirdly enough, though, Lewis, is that I think you and me may be the outliers on this because it's sold out everywhere.
Ugh, don't get it.
Which is it's wild, isn't it? It's absolutely like to me when this was first rumored. I remember talking about it on the podcast, and I was saying like, no way. There's no way. This thing's never going to sell.
No.
It's never going to be anywhere. Who gives a shit about this? And it turns out that I may be completely wrong here. And that maybe there is like a huge demand for something like this. Even though I've got a feeling that a lot of people are going to probably get it and then be strangely surprised that it doesn't work the way they want it to, right?
Yes.
They'll probably think, oh, I can't wait to put my disc into the back of this screen somehow and it work. And then they realize, oh, actually, no, I need internet. And I'm in the middle of fuck nowhere and I don't have internet right now. So who knows? But very strange device.
I don't understand
certainly
it.
Not what I want.
Yeah, no. I got an Amazon Fire tablet which I paid 100 quid for, and I just use that to stream all my Xbox games. Whenever I want to play Xbox games, I do it that way. And I don't think it's worth it, even if you're just streaming games. But with Xbox, at least you can go on Game Pass and play any game you want from Game Pass, and you don't need an Xbox turned on to play it. Like, if PlayStation did that, like, oh, here's PlayStation Plus, play any game from PlayStation Plus on the cloud without a PlayStation, and you just have the PlayStation Portal, that'd be perfect. Like, I wouldn't mind, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll probably buy one then. But the fact that you needed it basically, essentially, is just a screen for your PS5. I just don't understand it. Essentially, you're just buying a screen for your PS5 that you can carry around with you. It's weird. I don't get it. Honestly, I don't understand why it's a thing.
And I think this is where like the Xbox side have got this right. I think they've really nailed it in terms of this whole play anywhere stuff, like where you can just go onto the TV, connect it up, pop your own call. Now the new Sony TVs and a couple of the Android ones. I don't know how big the rollout is yet, but they are adding that kind of kind of level of support where you can connect up a DualSense to it and stuff like that, and it all works. But it's baby steps compared to where Xbox are at the moment when it comes to that kind of play anywhere kind of mentality. And maybe this is where they're taking that first step in, dipping their toe. But for me, I always think back to how great the PSP and the Vita were. Especially, I love my Vita.
Yeah,
I got 3 of them actually. I love my Vitas.
Wow.
And I bought one for me. I bought one for the wife, and then I saw one going on Facebook Marketplace for like 40 quid, and I was like, wow, come on, I'm not gonna let a Vita just. I'll look after it. Yeah, it's like when you go to the you're gonna adopt a dog or something. And then when you're in there, you see that other little cat who's a bit straggly, and you think, oh, I could look after him as well, and a hamster, and you end up taking half of them home, right? It's like that with Vitas. I'm like with Vitas in the wild, mate. I just can't let them go alone. So I look back to the good old days, and they were competing with Nintendo. Sure, they weren't beating them at what they do, but they were doing well. I think the PSP sold like 80-odd million units. Which is great. That's fucking fantastic. It's nearly as much as the PlayStation 3 generation did. Yeah. And then the Vita, unfortunately, just, it did what it did, like 12 mil. But that's not reason to seed it. And I think they've just shit the bed here, kind of exiting this marketplace and just seeding it all to Nintendo. Yeah. When they could compete here. And I think it makes far more sense than VR, to me, anyway.
Oh, I agree.
But
100% with that VR thing. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand it as a concept. I put down here, should Xbox copy it? I hope they don't. But if they had a device that you could stream like from your Xbox, but it'll also stream from Game Pass, I actually wouldn't mind buying that. But it's the fact that you're limited to like whatever your PS5 has downloaded to it, or like you have to swap discs around. No, it doesn't make sense to me. It's the fact that it's only remote play and there's no cloud streaming. It's kind of weird to me. Or there's no dedicated hardware either. That's what's bonkers to me. Like, I find it interesting. Like when Phil Spencer it was brought up in conversation. Phil Spencer about like handheld consoles. He's like, well, the ROG Ally is essentially an Xbox portable. Like it's not official. But the ROG Ally is essentially a portable Xbox. You can play all the Xbox games on that, and you can like play them natively through the Game Pass PC app. So, like they don't need to release a portable console because other companies are doing it for them. Like the Steam Deck is essentially an Xbox portable. So yeah, it's weird. I don't think they need I would love a dedicated Xbox device to play stuff natively, but I would not buy one that's just remote play device. I think that's a bit weird to me. I don't understand why people would pay. Was it like 200 quid? I don't know how much it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I'll go on there now, just double check myself, but I'm pretty sure it's like 199.
No, thank you. And then you can't. There's no Bluetooth either, so you have to use the particular PlayStation headphones, if I remember correctly, as well, right?
Well, it's all about this Link app. So there's this whole PlayStation Link, which is their new thing they're doing, and it comes with that. So you can use other headphones and stuff, but yeah, I think it's a little bit more convoluted than you think it would be. But yeah, it's all to do with this PlayStation Link portal thing. But yeah, 199, 99. Yeah, currently totally out of stock on PS Direct. Looking at it still, so. Yeah, coming out today, so people will start putting their first impressions up pretty soon, I guess. But
why?
Yeah, certainly not for me.
I don't understand why people would shit on the Wii U and then buy a PS5 portable. I don't understand. It's essentially just the Wii U again.
Hey, don't say no. The Wii U was shit, mate. You know, let's be honest. We all owned a Wii U,
I love
and
the
it was
Wii U.
bad. It was a Fisher Price tablet that hardly responded to touch. Right, it was terrible. Like that was actually a piece of shit. This at least would work, even though I don't like what it's designed for. Whereas the Wii U was just a mistake. Terrible. I fucking hated that, and it was awkward to hold.
Yeah.
You'd hold it, and my hands would be killing holding the Wii U gamepad. Like I didn't know where to put my hands. Like it was just, I put that console. It's the only console I got in my basement.
Wow.
I never go down to my basement. I never go down there. I need enough separation from it. I need 2 floors before I get down to where it is.
I
Yeah,
think
no way.
if Smash wasn't on there, you probably would never play it at all. I imagine that was like the game for it, and then Smash Bros. Ultimate kind of just surpassed it in every way. So it was like literally made it superfluous. Like really, only thing I'm curious about with the PlayStation Portal actually is, can you use it as a second player controller? Like if you had like people over, would you be able to use it as a second controller? Because it's got the PlayStation. It is essentially a PS5 controller, just a screen on it. Could you use it as a second controller?
I'm gonna guess no. I'm gonna guess no because it's just mirroring whatever's shown on screen.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would work like that. I don't think you could do that now. I would have thought no.
Let us know in the comments below if that is the case, though. I would love to know that. Just more of a curiosity thing, because I've always liked the idea of playing Xbox with my friends and taking my like tablet with me and a controller, just streaming my side of the gameplay and just sitting in the same room, just chilling like I used to do. Like when when you're kids and you're playing split screen and you're just all hanging out in the same room. Like I miss that. Like I'd love to have that as an option, but there you go. It's just one of those things. Yeah, interesting. I will not be buying one. Even though I'd like to buy technology. I own a PS5, I have an Xbox, I have a Switch, I have a new laptop. I love buying like new tech. There's no way in hell I'm buying this piece of junk. I'm sorry. I'm more likely to buy a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, and that I'm just going to invest and get a proper one. Your TV's not having a fun time, is it?
Just adverts, man. I'm just trying to show a video of a fire. But bear in mind, this is the case. If anyone's watching this on YouTube and you're thinking, oh, lovely inbuilt fire he's got built into the wall there, I've now just showed you that actually no, it's just a video on YouTube I got on the background. It's not real fire.
You can't see it on my screen, but I'm looking at a video of the sky moving through the the clouds.
Oh.
So it looks like I have a window in front of me, but it's actually a big TV.
Very dystopian, that.
Yeah.
Very dystopian.
Well, it's more like natural light to make myself look nicer in the video.
Oh, I see.
There's a bit of natural lighting, even though it's not really natural. Unnatural, natural light. Figure that one out. So yeah, that is our news for the week. Shall we move into our topic of the show?
Do it.
Topic of the show. Yeah. I need to come up with a jingle for that one. Nice. Yeah. Our topic of the show is happy birthday to PS5 and Xbox Series. They have both been out for 3 years. Jesus Christ. Time goes so fast. We are just dust in the wind. And our mortal being is just... doesn't last long. Bloody hell. I can't believe these consoles have been out 3 years. I can't believe they've been out 3 years already. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I still think that these consoles still haven't really hit their potential yet. Like, I feel like God of War was like PS4 and PS5. And I feel like most of the Xbox games have been Xbox. Like, so I think Spider-Man 2 and Starfield are like the first like proper... Oh, well, I suppose Ratchet and Clank, but like 2 of the first proper like next gen only games, right? That are not back with previous. I mean, you had Flight Sim as well, I suppose. I don't know.
If I go through like the PlayStation list and I could miss some, but I think this is it, right? Off the top of my head, you've got Astros.
Yeah.
You've got Demon Souls. You've got
Yeah.
Returnal, Spider-Man, Ratchet. Those are the big ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Those are the big ones. But I think that's about it. And I mean, out of those, the ones that really pushed the PlayStation, I guess Ratchet. For me personally, I think Spidey 2 is the one that's really
Pushing it, yeah.
showcased, yeah. But Demon Souls, me and Spencer having this discussion the other day actually, while we were out drinking. Demon Souls, I still think is probably the best looking game on the console still to this day.
Yeah.
That was a launch game.
I agree
That game
with
looks fantastic. So, yeah, that's probably the best looking game we got.
So yeah, on Xbox side, I think it's Flight Simulator, Forza Motorsport, and Starfield. I think those are the three. They're like the only ones you can't play on Xbox One. But then they do let you cloud stream on the Xbox One and play those games through the cloud. But like natively, you need an Xbox Series or a good PC to run these games. So interesting. Yeah, it just feels weird that we're 3 years in and we've only just started to get exclusive games for these systems. It's very odd.
I think it goes back to the difficulties they've had this generation, though, in terms of supply and demand. Right now, I don't know. I haven't followed the Xbox too closely, so you have to fill me in a little bit here.
No, that's cool.
But with PlayStation, definitely, supply's been a real issue, and it's only really over the last year that they've managed to get that under control. And this Christmas now, we'll see. A couple of my colleagues in work, they've been coming to me lately, and my girlfriend's been coming to me as well, and asking about, PlayStation 5s, and saying, like, what should they get, and what they need for their kids, and la 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 la. So we're giving advice out left, right, and centre. I should probably charge for it, to be honest. Like we were saying about, getting money from the audience and all this, I should probably start putting a service out there to, like, my work colleagues. Yes, I can provide this information. However, you got to sort me on the backhand here.
They can ask me, and I'll just say Xbox Series S with Game Pass. Just get that for your kids. That's the cheapest. That's the cheapest option. Just gonna put it out there.
That's true. That's true. But what I'm finding now, and this is what's interesting, is that people are now coming to me and saying they're finding it quite difficult again to find them, and I'm like, that's weird. But maybe that might just be a case of it's just this time of year, it's Christmas time, and people really want Spidey, and so it's just a 2, right? It could just be that. But I think that's the reason why we've had so much of this whole cross-gen. I mean, the PS4 generation in particular, you had, 120-odd million units?
Yes.
You don't really want to abandon... Like, if you're making a game now, we were already talking earlier about how expensive it is and how much effort it is to be able to produce these new games, and that's why people are doing a lot of remasters and remakes and stuff like that to be able to offset that risk.
Yes.
You can understand from their side why they don't want to abandon 122 million PS4s or an Xbox Series is. So it makes sense to not divest everything in.
Yeah.
But now that we're 3 years in, the generation is getting to the point where it can sustain itself. PlayStation now at about 50-odd million. I don't know what the Xbox is at, but you've got enough there that you could probably say, right, well, we could launch a game. It's going to sell 10+ mil now.
Yeah.
Rather than a few years ago, there wasn't that many consoles out there to be able to make sure that you could be able to launch it. And I think that's where we are now, and that's the rationale for why we've had such a elongated last generation. Whereas before, it's normally like a year and a half, isn't it?
Yes.
And then it's done.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
Whereas now it seems like it's been going on for fucking forever. So quite exciting for us that we can now hopefully see what the PS5 and the Xbox Series can do.
Yeah. Also,
and that's the exciting thing.
Also, COVID didn't help as well. I think that was a big issue as well with COVID happening. Also, I just wanted to point out the Jim Ryan quote of "We believe in generations." I still think is absolutely hysterical. Like 3 years later, that he said that, and everyone was like, "Yeah, PlayStation, they're right. They believe in generations." And then Xbox got all this shit, and they've both been cross generation. It's like, why is Xbox getting shit for this when PlayStation are doing the same thing? I don't understand.
Oh man, and I've been really critical of this because I hated the fact that like Horizon and God of War that they were cross-gen. Hated it because I was like, and this is selfish. Yeah, I'll put it out there. If you still own a PS4 and an Xbox One, fuck off. Just fuck off. You got enough games over the past 10 years. Just go play them. Like, about time this generation really flexed its legs. And I've been saying this for years. I've been saying, like, I wish that they would just abandon PS4. And it doesn't make sense financially, right? No. I get that. But Yeah, it's been a weird generation where it feels like we're kind of at the start of the gen, even though, as you said, we're 3 years
It's
in. Very, very
really
weird.
weird.
Very, very weird.
It's strange. Yeah, like, and then also we got the Series S, which a lot of people have been slagging off, but it's still a pretty decent. It's like a powerful system, but it doesn't do 4K. So that kind of like people are like, oh, is the Series S holding everyone back? I'm like, kind of, maybe, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are still making games for it and doing pretty well with it. It's a weird one. I don't understand how people could say the Series S is holding people back when the people are still making PS4 games though and Xbox One games. It doesn't really make sense. But
I think the big thing with the S, and this will be, and it kind of all depends on what Phil Spencer's kind of take on it is going forward, right? Is that you can definitely see there is some impacts, right? Like Baldur's Gate's 1,
yes,
where they're really struggling to get it to run, right? And if Phil Spencer said, like, look, if you can release it on both, great.
yeah,
If you can't, and it has to just be the one, fine. And
Yeah.
at least then you kind of know that if you're jumping in on S, you can play the majority of the games, but there's going to be some that you can't, right? And that's the kind of gambit that you run. That would make sense to me.
yeah,
It does muddy it though. And it's
It
the
does.
same way that, and this was the worry I think that we all had when you had like the Xbox One X and the PS5 Pro, where we were thinking, is there going to be games that are only on the Xbox Series X or the Xbox One X and PS5 Pro?
Yeah.
And it just never happened, did it? It just never happened.
No.
So, but I can definitely see it could hold it back. If they were strict, they had to launch on both. I can see that if they do decide to move into this next generation fully, and they're talking about the Xbox Xbox Series X and the PS5 and that level, they want to benchmark to that. They want it to be the best looking game, run the best, have all these different things. I can see that being a bit of an anchor to Xbox.
The only thing I would say about that though is, according to like a previous financial call, the Xbox Series S is actually selling better than the X. Like a lot of people are buying the cheaper system because it's a lot of people don't care about 4K. A lot of people don't give a shit about 4K. It's like, oh, it does 1080p. Yeah, all right, that's fine.
And it could be for a lot of people that it might be that the Xbox is like their second system, or their third system, rather than like their main one they play.
Their Call of Duty system. Well, that's going to be
their Game Pass.
The Game Pass.
Game Pass system. Yeah. Their system that they've got their Nintendo for the Nintendo games. They've got PlayStation for their exclusives, and then everything else they kind of pick up on Game Pass, right? And it could be that that's how that's worked. I know that that's what a couple of my friends have done. That's what I've been debating for myself as well a couple of times, especially if Halo had launched really well.
Yeah,
I would have had an Xbox Series.
Nice.
Don't know which one of them though, but I probably would have gone for an X because
might as well. Get the proper one, innit?
Fuck it, why not?
Well, if you end up getting it, we'll play some Halo for sure. If you end up getting it, I'll play some Halo with you. I'll carry you, even though you'll probably be better than me.
I doubt it.
But yeah, no. So I mean, speaking of we were talking about pros and stuff, the PS5 Slim has just come out. How thoughts on that? I mean, the £30 stand I think is absurd, but apart from that, I think it looks kind of nice. Maybe, I don't know. The disc tray always looks like a bit of a tumour. I'm not a fan of the disc tray. Apart from that, I think it looks alright. Honestly, I think the digital one looks nice. Personally,
yes, I think the Digi one looks lush. I really don't understand this whole different design of the sides though, like where it's got the slit down the middle, because they've been putting a lot of effort in and getting all these different sides that you can attach onto it, and make it unique, make it black, make it purple, make it silver, all these different things. And now, if you bought all those and then decide to upgrade to a Slim for whatever reason, someone decided to do that, you then have to start from scratch again. And I don't really get why they kind of did that. I think the physical one looks fucking ugly as hell.
Oh yeah.
I think it looks awful. Like that arse I think I said on when I covered it before that it's like it's had a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, right? It looks like someone's just stuck like Nicki Minaj's ass onto the bottom of this thing. It looks terrible, but the Digi one does look great. I will give it that. And I think if someone's diving into this generation that they haven't before, Slim kind of makes sense, right? Why would you want like a monolith underneath the bottom when you can have something 30% smaller? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this argument before. I think the PS5 in general is just hideous. Honestly, I think it's an ugly console. Like I was saying to Phil the other day, the PS2 is such a gorgeous console by comparison. If you like compare the two, I'd give me a PS2. It looks more modern and it looks nicer. It makes no sense, but that's the case. But yeah, I'm in the same boat with the Xbox. I've just got a Starfield wrap, which is like a cover for the Xbox. So now it's all Starfield looking. It's like, ooh, how nice. And the rumours are that next year they're bringing out a new Series X. I don't know if you've seen this. It's like, well, the leaked Series X. There's like cylindrical. Looks like an air purifier. Or like like Alexa speaker. Whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it's weird. I'm interested in getting a new Series X because I use my Series X so much. It's on like pretty much 24 hours a day. I'm like constantly on it. But it's weird. It's like there's no disc tray. There's no way of attaching a disc tray. And it's cylindrical, which is weird. I don't understand it. Like, so I was going to say this as well. The PS5 Slim encourages you to put it on its side because it comes with a side stand, and the new Xbox you have to put it straight up. Whereas my setup, I have the PS5 stood up and my Xbox on its side, so I'd have to swap them round if I ended up getting both slim versions, which is really annoying. It's like I don't want to put it on its side. I don't want to put my Xbox on its. I don't want to stand the Xbox up. I haven't got the space for it. So I was like, ugh. Like, how do you put a cylindrical thing on its side? I don't understand. Ugh.
You'd have to have two little plastic stands that would be on either end, so it would like sit into it. You know, like a Bose speaker or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Like, if you ever seen those, so it would slot in like that. That would be the only way that you'd have to do it, and that could look all right. That might look quite cool underneath there. Because I hate my PS5 being let down. I hate it. I'm very much in the minority here, where I think stood up the PS5 looks beautiful. I think it looks lush. I really like the design of it. Lying down, it looks fucking horrendous, right? It looks awful. But I got no room. I can't put it standing up. I'd have like my cat's knocking it over. I'd have a cat sat on it, definitely. I'd have my kid coming in, smacking it over. I just can't take that risk, right? Not with something so precious, you know. I can't be doing it. But no, it does make me kind of look back at what we had in generations before. You know, like I've got my down by where my fight stick is, just over there. My PS3 is in there, and I got my PS3 Slim. And the difference over the generation for like PlayStation in particular here. You know, you had the PS3 came out with the Fat George Foreman. I love that one. Loved it. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it though.
With 1,000 different ports for different things that no one ever used.
Yeah, no one ever used. And then after that, then you had the Slim, which the one I got underneath the TV there. And then they had a couple of different iterations, and each one looked similar to what came before. So you could identify as part of the PlayStation family, part of the PS3, but they looked like increasingly more modern, if you get me, as they kind of went along. And then PS4, obviously, they didn't really seem to do an awful lot with it, other than they just released a kind of a pro version.
They just added an extra slab to the side of it and made it like
it
turned it from a sandwich to a club sandwich. Yeah,
that's exactly what they did. Yeah, and so I do kind of miss this whole thing where it kind of iterates and it gets more iterative. And I suppose this would be the thing. Maybe we flash forward 5 years from now, and we've got the next revisions. Maybe the Xbox, the new one, isn't cylindrical, it's then a triangle. And PlayStation's, it becomes even smaller with an even bigger arse on it. Right? I don't know. Who knows? But
just a dump
we'll have
truck.
to see.
Like,
total dump truck. Yeah, total dump. Yeah. So we'll have to see. But I do kind of miss this whole the kind of different design they went for each one, and it was quite nice. I think back in the day.
So obviously, so we're talking about the 3-year anniversary. What would you say is, in hindsight, 3 years later, what was the best launch title for the PS5? For me, it's Miles Morales, probably. Yeah.
I think for me, it's Demon Souls.
Demon's Souls is still really
100%.
good. Yeah.
I think that would be, if we're talking just launch, then it would be that. If we're talking early, like first 18 months,
Yeah.
Returnal.
Oh, you love Returnal.
Hands down Returnal. Yeah, hands down Returnal. I think, to me, that's my second favorite game of the generation so far.
Wow.
I love it so much, man. I absolutely adore it.
Whereas-
But if it was just day one, like you just buying a PlayStation, Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Hands down to me.
So the Xbox was an interesting launch with the Xbox Series. They didn't really have many like launch titles. They had a couple, but it was the launch title for the Xbox Series was Game Pass. Essentially, that was the big selling point. And like EA play, like getting EA Play added onto it and saying, "Look, we added Bethesda to the family," because that was literally just before the Xbox launched. They announced the Bethesda acquisition. We had we had a 4K remaster of Gears of War 5, which they could have sold as a full game, but they just released it as like a patch basically, because like they added Dave Bautista as a playable character. They added like all these new mods and stuff to the game, 4K, 60 frames a second, like ray tracing, all this stuff to Gears of War. And they also Ori, they put that up to 120 frames a second at launch. And they also had Tetris Effect at launch. So it's like they had a decent launch lineup, a lot better than what people say. A lot of people are like, they had nothing at launch. It's like, well, they did, just not really like I feel like the launch would be seen a lot better if they sold Gears of War 5 Remaster as a 60 quid game and say, look, this is a launch title, instead of just going, here's a port, if you have Gears of War 5, here's the Series X version, go have fun.
I suppose it's a tricky one, isn't it, on their side, because they want it to be, they like we were saying earlier, whereas PlayStation was saying about, oh, we believe in generations, right? And that's why they were launching, exclusive like Demon Souls or whatever, or Astros on there. Xbox have always just had this more kind of consumer friendly approach. That's what they've been trying to put out there, haven't they? And so you're buying it for not the games that are coming or anything like that. It's more of a case of you're getting a better experience than what you've had before.
Yeah.
And that's what they're selling it as, whereas the PlayStation's always been a case of, or historically, until this generation, it's been a case of, here's a line in the sand, you're moving on to the next one.
Yes. I mean,
and everything else before or doesn't, like after the first iteration. And it's just that line in the sand, you move over to this, and this is where you now play. Yeah. Whereas Xbox is more, you follow that wave, right, don't you?
Yeah, it's more like, yeah, I suppose that is true what you're saying, but it also kind of like it's like PlayStation went, oh yeah, it's a new generation, hard cut, and then they go, actually, let's not hard cut it. Let's just like they had a hard cut like launch, and then after launch they kind of backtracked a little bit.
the toe just goes back over the other line. Maybe we won't hard cut. No. That's the tide's coming in. Let's wash over that line. That line now is 3 years down the line.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because there was some stuff to play at Xbox launch, but it wasn't the launch was a bit poor. And then 2021 came out. Like they had Halo, Forza Horizon 5, Psychonauts, Flight Simulator. Basically, they had a really good year. They were like touted as Developer of the Year in 2021, and then 2022 was a complete shit show. So it's like it's been very like
all over the place,
nothing, loads, nothing. Loads, and we're in the loads at the moment. I'm hoping that we're not going to have nothing next year. Like they said, there's 4 games announced for next year already, so we should be okay. But Xbox does have a tendency to do this. Whether we have,
you'd hope now that there's been enough time that things will start to click into shape. And I suppose this is the conversation that we always seem to have in terms of like the management, the studios, and stuff like that. But I mean, this is it now. Hopefully Starfield's the start and as you said, 2024. They got 4 games announced already.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what they got. PlayStation coming up in 2024. We got
Wolverine from Stars.
maybe Wolverine. I don't know. I wouldn't go so far. I think for what we got confirmed, we got Death Stranding 2.
Ooh,
We got Helldivers. We got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If you want to count that, it is an exclusive.
Yeah.
Even though probably not for long. And that's it so far.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I think that's all that's been announced so far. But that's the thing; it's just announced. So that's where the hype's like, oh, what's the big game? You know, because all these games you can think, you know, they're all going to be out probably by Q2. So then we don't know what's Q3, Q4, or 2025. So hopefully Ghost of Tsushima. I reckon it's Ghost of Tsushima's year next year.
I want that.
I put money on that. I'd put money on that.
So earlier on, I said if Wolverine came out or Death Stranding 2 came out, I'd play the PS5. Did I say no? Ghost of Tsushima or Wolverine is what I meant to say. And then, but Death Stranding 2 would also be on that list. I would definitely want to try and play. I want to go back and play Death Stranding 1. I did enjoy it for what I played. I just never finished it. I need to go back and play a bit more Death Stranding 1 because I'm a bit of I love Hideo Kojima. He's the best. He's so weird.
Yeah, he is the best.
He's so odd. He's such an odd individual, but I love him. But yeah, so like next year for Xbox is Towerborn, Avowed, Hellblade 2, Flight Sim 2024, and then there's also other games they haven't officially announced yet.
Wow.
So there's
year.
four official games on the docket, but then there's also other ones they haven't announced yet, so we're still waiting on that. Like there's a Blizzard rumored like a survival game from Blizzard that might be coming out, and there's loads of stuff like Contraband, Fable. You don't know what's coming out next year. I say all this now, and then it'll be literally fuck all next year. Now I'll be like, where are my games?
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? The big thing is going to be we got Game Awards coming up in a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
and that's always pretty Xbox heavy in terms of what they show there. So I imagine you're going to see quite a few updates there, and that will hopefully be a case that you can think, right, well, give me a bit of, kind of a bit of support going into 2024, thinking, right, okay, these games are further along. You know, like, say, for example, like we were joking earlier on the show, if they have another CG trailer for fucking...
Hellblade.
What's Hellblade, right? I'd be worried as hell if it was another one. Like, I really would be. Whereas if they come out and they show gameplay and it looks sick, you think 2024, 100%. Like, easy. Whereas I think on the opposite side of the camp, I don't think PlayStation are going to be at the Game Awards apart from like one game. I reckon they'll show like one big hitter, and that'll be it. And it'd probably be something Last of Us. It'd probably be something Last of Us, I guess. Yeah, I imagine. And that would be it. Because they got the TV show for Last of Us is up for Best TV Adaptation.
Yes.
Definitely win that.
I voted for Mario.
That.
I voted
Did
for
you
Mario.
really?
Yeah.
Mario!
Mario!
Don't get me wrong. Come on, man. It's nowhere near on the same level. So, yeah, I can imagine they'd have that, but then nothing. So the hope on our side of the pond is that we're going to have a showcase or something before end of year, which will then show off 2024. But who knows? They might just not bother. At the moment, it's fucking impossible to predict. So who knows? Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
And GTA 6, of course, that's going to be a huge game for next year.
Yeah, that's. They said they're going to be showing the trailer for that soon, I think. So,
mate, this could be why everyone's going quiet, on announcements. It could be that people are just waiting to see when GTA 6 is out.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Out the way. Yeah, I do not want to go anywhere near this.
Yeah,
it could be that.
Also forgot to mention that next year Xbox will have Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or whatever the next Call of Duty game is going to be technically an Xbox game, and it's going to be under their umbrella as well, so they're going to be promoting the shit out of that the next year. Hellblade is concerning because they said it's got combat in it, and they've shown like CG, like
threw a spear, didn't she?
Yeah,
threw a bloody spear.
Oh yeah. But I was gonna say they showed like like a capture, like motion capture of her doing sword stuff. But we've not seen any gameplay at all when it comes to that. All we've seen is walking, essentially her walking and talking to herself. Like, I'm talking to myself. Oh my god. That's all we got from the opening too. It's like, show me the bloody action. I don't want to see her talking to herself anymore. For fuck's sake, woman. Get a sword.
Show me what we do. Yeah, show me what we do. Like, what is this talking to yourself simulator?
Yeah, that's what it feels
Weird.
like. It's weird, yeah. I'm worried it is just going to become a walking sim, and that's what I'm concerned about. I hope not, but yeah. Like, this is supposed to be like our God of War, this is supposed to be like, supposed to be our big cinematic game here. I'm scared that it might not hit. I forgot to mention as well, Stalker 2, that's supposed to be coming at some point. Hopefully early next year, fingers crossed. But obviously the stuff in the Ukraine has been made it very difficult.
Messing that up.
Yeah,
and that's on a limited exclusivity, isn't it? Like
I think it's 3 months. Yeah, the rumor is 3 months. Yeah, I believe. But still, it's another big game coming out next year, which is nice. I don't think 2024 is going to be anywhere near as good as 2023, though. Honestly, I think 2023 has been exceptional. For all 3 consoles and PC. So that's bad.
I think it will go down as one of the best years ever. Definitely.
It's right up there,
for gaming.
For sure. So, I mean, how long do you think we got left in this generation now? So we're 3 years in. The average is 7 years, right? I mean, what we thinking? 2020... I don't know. 2028? Are we going to be seeing the PS6 and the Xbox... I don't know, 0.1
I think,
or whatever they want to call it.
I think it all depends. If we get a Pro next year,
yeah,
which is the rumor that's doing the rounds, and so far these rumors, as much as I don't want to believe them, they've been bang on. Actually, so far they said a Slim was coming out. I didn't believe it. Here it is this year. So, say a Pro comes out next year. 2 years on from that. So we're talking 2026, 2027 for the next one, I'd say.
Right.
But it still feels too early, though.
It does. It does definitely feel too... Maybe it's because we're old.
Could be.
Because, the original Xbox generation was only 4 years, I think. The original Xbox. And, that felt like I was around for ages. But it literally... about the same length of time this one's been out already. And it was already getting replaced with the 360. So it's like, yeah, mad to think. Time is just goes so fast the older you get. If you're kids and you're listening to this, enjoy your life while you still can. You'll be old before you know it. Oh, back in my day, console generations were a lot longer. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm hoping it's not. I would like this console generation to last a little longer because I feel like the Xbox Series X has so much potential, and I don't even feel like I've got the most out of it yet. It doesn't feel like we've really pushed it at all, and I think the PS5's the same. I think the first Spider-Man flying through that building in the Sandman fight, that was about ooh, okay, this is next gen. That's the most next gen I felt with PS5, and then with Starfield, some of the stuff they've done in there, I feel like, oh, that's pretty next gen as well. But it's because they did they did their minor spoilers, I guess. In Spider-Man, you could go through portals in this one mission, which is very Ratchet and Clank, and it's it's very cool. There's a similar mission to that in Starfield as well, which does the similar kind of thing. And it's just that's really cool. That's next gen. But I don't feel like we've had much of that at all. There's Ratchet, Demon's Souls, Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation side. Then there's Flight Sim, which is really impressive because it's literally the entire planet 3D modeled, which is insane. Starfield's pretty impressive. Forza is really pretty, but it's just a racing game at the end of the day. Those are the only games that's really pushing this system, and I feel like if we're wrapping up the system already, it seems a bit strange to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think now whoever we've got next on both sides for 2024, 2025, that's where they got to really push at the stops now, and we got to see what have we got in the tank. And I mean, when you're talking about with Hellblade especially, that first game was fucking beautiful. That's what they're known for, the studio, right? On the same level that I'd put Guerrilla on the PlayStation side, known for their kind of technical chops. Yeah. So we'll see. And I mean, this is the exciting thing, is that we got so many unknowns over the next couple of years that we could have something come out and you're like, oh my God. Like, I think, and this is the problem with getting old, right? And I suppose, especially for us, do you remember, like, we were playing our PlayStation 1s, N64s, stuff like that. And then we see a gameplay demo of Metal Gear Solid 2. And it was like, holy shit! It was like insane. It was like absolutely nuts. Like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like where glass could shatter, or you could break fruit, or you could hold guards up, and all this stuff that was like, there was no fucking way this could happen on PS1.
Yeah.
And I've never had that feeling since. Wow. I don't think ever. I think the only time I've had something close is in like Last of Us 2. Where I know you hate it, but like
it's all right.
we shoot someone in a leg, and then someone be like, "Not Barry,
not Barry,
big brother Barry."
I'm like, shut up.
And, like that kind of stuff, like really grabbed me, like that attention to detail. But yeah, I'm waiting for that moment on PS5, and I haven't quite had it yet. So I think there's a lot more to come. I think the fast travel in Spider-Man, probably the first glimpse.
Yeah,
that's probably the first glimpse, but I'm expecting for something on that same kind of level.
It's funny because you say that about the PlayStation and all that. It's the quick resume on an Xbox feels next gen, but that's not actually a thing in a game. It's just something you can do with multiple games. It's like it feels weird to me when I play my PlayStation. I'll close a game and then I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta load the game up again. All right. Shit, all right. Whereas on Xbox, I'm literally just jumping. It's like, oh, I'm bored of Halo now. Let's bring up Yakuza. Oh yeah, this is exactly where I left it 10 minutes ago. Like that's awesome. I don't know why PlayStation hasn't done that yet. It's weird. They need to do it. But like that's next gen to me. That's like the most next gen thing, and that's just a big system quality thing, which is interesting. When you said about graphics, the thing that jumped to mind to me was the first time I saw Gears of War on the Xbox 360. Like I was a big Nintendo I was a massive Nintendo fanboy. I was like, oh yeah, I love the Wii, I love Red Steel and doing this shit.
I love Red Steel, man.
Oh man, I was so like Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess. I thought I was great on the Wii, and then my friend was like, "Oh, have you seen Gears of War?" I was like, "No, what's this?" And then I saw him play Gears of War. Like, wow, okay. I need a HD TV. I need an Xbox 360. I need a next gen console like right now. And then like that's literally what converted me to an Xbox gamer. I was literally seeing Gears of War like I was already a Halo fan, but Gears of War was just like, wow, this is like photorealistic. Nothing will ever look better than this. And then you look back at it now, it's like, okay, it still holds up pretty well, but it's still like, oh, okay. But Gears of War was that leap in graphics for me where I was like, oh, wow. That's next gen. But then obviously Metal Gear as well, yeah. Like I we are old, aren't we? I just remember jumping up to the jump to the like Mario 64 from like Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Bros. World going to 64. Like, whoa, 3D graphics. And it's like, wow. Mad. Cloud will never look more realistic than this. His giant blockheads. Blockheads.
It's mad, mate. It's mad. I remember just like playing MGS1 and then just being like, oh my god, like this game is so pretty. And then I booted it up as part of the collection the other day and I was like, fucking hell. I love this game, but Jesus Christ. There's no faces. They don't have faces, bro. They're just a block with lines. You know? It's wild.
It is amazing how well that game holds up, though, like gameplay and audio-wise and all that, though. Oh my god, the voice acting and stuff, it still holds up really well. And, like, yep, Solid Snake's still a pervert, and he's still pervert on all the women.
Hey, that says more about you. Solid Snake, that does, mate. You're just staring through the vent at Meryl doing her sit-ups, and you're just like, oh, I can watch this for a bit longer.
No, I just remember, because I was playing it the other day, like, just the beginning, and it's the beginning, just like, and you a little cute to be a scientist. It's like, I'll call you later. And then, like, the other woman, he's like, oh yeah, I remember you strip searching me. He's like, maybe you can strip search me when I get back. So, like, I'll hold you to that. It's like, okay, Snake, calm down. Keep your snake down, mate. Keep your Solid Snake flatted at the moment.
Oh dear.
But no, that game holds up really well. Yeah, So that was another question I was going to ask about this generation. Like, how would you stack this up, like generation wise? Like, I think this Xbox Series X is probably the best Xbox generation apart from maybe the 360. I think the 360 had a better launch lineup. But then you've got Game Pass, you've got like 500 games at launch anyway. So technically you have 500 games at launch on the Xbox Series. But I think the Xbox 360 was probably the best launch. But then obviously we had the rendering of death and all that stuff. So if I was like stacked, so that also takes away from it a little bit. But I would say it's like Xbox 360's top, then this, then the original Xbox, then the Xbox One, because the Xbox One was like a bit of a disaster. So, like, where would you stack like the PS5's launch, or like where would you stack it in the pantheon of PlayStation consoles? Personally,
Oh, very tricky, right? Well, straight away, bottom of the list is PS2. PS2 launch was terrible. It had really bad games at launch. PS2 did. You had like the Bouncer, I think,
yeah,
and
I think I remember that.
I think there was like some racing game that was those shits as well. And PS4 had a really strong launch. PS4 off memory now.
Resogun.
Resogun was sick.
Oh, so good. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That was the one I got with my PS4 when I got it at launch.
Battlefield 4 I got with mine, which was great. In fact, I'm pulling up the list now. See if there's anything.
Call of Duty Ghosts, everyone's favourite.
Yeah,
Saying that, it's not as bad as Modern Warfare 3, apparently.
Oh, you had Knack. You had Knack.
Knack.
Jesus Christ, what a terrible game that is. But you had Killzone Shadowfall, which was the reason why I bought it, and I really liked that one, even though a lot of people didn't.
Oh, I like Shadowfall. It was a good game. I still, to this day, think that's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. And there's a PS4 launch style, which is kind of crazy.
PS3 had a pretty strong launch because you had Resistance Fall of Man, which I loved, right? And Motorstorm. And I loved
great games.
the Motorstorm. And I had Ridge Racer 7 with mine as well. And those were my launch games. And I loved those. But yeah, I think... I don't know. I mean, PS5 I think had a really strong launch because you had Spider-Man Miles Morales, you had Demon's Souls, and you had Astro, and all three of those games I think absolutely slapped hits, and especially Astro to me. I mean, like a lot of people think of it as nothing, but I loved it. I think it's still like my favorite platformer of this gen so far. I just love it, man. I absolutely love it. So I'd probably go so far. And I'd have to check the PS1 launch. I'd have to check that. But going off the top of my head, if I don't use anything, I think PS5's had the best launch library because it also came with 20 games from the PS4 generation inbuilt with it as well.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that, yeah.
So it was a really, really strong launch.
PS Plus collection, which they got rid of, which is weird.
Yeah, well, now it's all just rolled into PS Extra, isn't it? So that's how they kind of get you now. But yeah, I'd probably say that PS5 had the best launch library. But I think the best console so far in terms of its catalog is PS4.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. I'd say that.
So I mean, I was going off like the console in general, but yeah, if you're going purely off launch, the Xbox One had a pretty decent launch actually. It had bloody hell, what's it called? Son of Rome.
Rise,
Son of Rome. That game is fun. That game is really fun, and it holds up really well, like graphically. Yeah, it was decent. It wasn't like the best game ever. It was a bit repetitive. It was like if you played it for like 5 hours, you get the most out of it. But like, yeah, it was fun. And then it had Dead Rising 3, which was kind of good, and also Sunset Overdrive came out like pretty soon after launch as well, and Quantum Break. So it was some decent stuff at launch for the Xbox One. It's just a shame the rest of the console was a piece of shit. And then the Kinect was a bit of an issue. Like, why did you force the Kinect on people? That was a train wreck. So that kind of takes down a bit. 360, you had Oblivion. You had Gears of War came out pretty soon after launch. So that was a pretty good launch lineup. I think the original Xbox, Halo Combat Evolved.
Halo. Halo, yeah, sweeps, man, so good,
So I mean that's
so great.
that. So I think maybe the launch lineup, the day one launch lineup, I think maybe the Xbox Series X might even be the lowest. It might be the worst. But as a after 3 years, the first 3 years, I think it's top or second from top with the Xbox 360. I think it's right up there. One of the best first 3 years of console. Pretty decent. It's got a decent library now. Finally, it took a while. We got there. Finally. And then hopefully next year we got another, like, hopefully for the foreseeable future now we will have 4 or 5 decent games every year. Fingers crossed. That's what they're aiming for anyway. Yeah, so I think that's really it when it comes to this subject. I mean, are you happy with this generation? Like out of 10, what would you rate the PS5 so far?
I think so far, right. In terms of the PS5 itself, I think it's easily their best console they've ever made in terms of what it does. But I think that just comes with just modern technology, right?
Exactly.
The handset's the best that they've ever produced, in my opinion. I know you're not a massive fan, but I love.
No, I agree.
I love the way
Actually,
it feels. I love the triggers. I love all the features that were inbuilt into it. I think it's absolutely incredible. The games, God of War Ragnarok's literally my second favorite game of all time.
wow.
So that hard carries. But then I think over the span of the last 3 years so far, they haven't really missed. So I think they're on track for this to be the best console they've ever made in terms of a library.
Wow.
Their next 2 years are going to be key to see if it can overtake PS4, because PS4 easily the best, I think, so far in terms of like what they were producing. PS3 may have had more content from the first party, but they weren't at the same level of quality that PS4 produced.
Yeah.
So PS5, wait and see, but so far they're on track to be the best as far as I'm concerned.
It's interesting.
Very happy.
It's interesting with the PS5 that you got, they pivot to live service, and now they're kind of pivoted back a little bit. So I'm really interested to see where it's going to be in the next. I'm not saying it's good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's interesting that their bread and butter has been third-person action games, and now they kind of are moving away from that. So I'm really intrigued to see how it goes over the next couple of years. I think I'm really interested. It could be a train wreck. It could be an absolute amazing success. I don't know.
Wait and see. Time will tell. And this is the thing that's really exciting, is that we just don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And so that's exciting. And I know a lot of people could probably go into that with trepidation, but I think until they kind of take a couple of missteps, there's no reason to doubt them at the minute.
It's funny because it's like, it feels like Xbox and PlayStation are kind of doing the reverse of each other. Like Xbox have already got all the live service games in the bag already. They got Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Sea of Thieves. What's it called? State of Decay 2, Halo Infinite, Call of Duty now. They've just added that to the list. Overwatch. Essentially, they got all the live services games like in the bag. Now they're like, let's make a load of single player RPG games. We've got Avowed, Clockwork Revolution, Fable, Hellblade, like all these games lined up, like single player experiences. And they've because we got the live services done. We'll do the single player stuff now. Whereas PlayStation is like, we got all the single player stuff done. Now let's do some live services. It's just kind of funny that they kind of like swapped positions in that one, which is really intriguing. So the next few years are going to be really interesting, and I'm excited as an Xbox fan for sure. Because if we're going into the like when PS4 was at its peak, if this is where Xbox is going now, that's going to be really exciting to be an Xbox gamer. It's like we're moving into that period of time if we're following the same schedule of like routine, So
Yeah, definitely. No,
exciting.
definitely.
I'm very excited. I'm also going to be annoyed when Avowed eventually gets a 7 out of 10 from IGN, and I'm going to be really pissed. I can already tell. It's going to happen.
I'll be there to temper your fires, mate, if it's not what it should be. But I have all faith. I have all faith that they're going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, it should be fun though. This generation is great. I'm as I said, we got the Slim consoles just come out, and we got the Xbox Tube coming out next year in theory. So we still got a couple more years left in this generation. So I'm really intrigued to see where we go from here. What do you guys think of the first 3 years of this generation? Has it gone fast for you? Are you a youngster? You're like, oh, the last 3 years have lasted forever in my eyes. Like, how would you rate this generation? Are you a fan of PS5 or Xbox Series? Let us know in the comments below. Or are you just a Switch user? You're like, oh, what are you on about? This generation's over for us. Let us know in the comments below. Really appreciate it. And I think that's pretty much it for today. Unless there's anything else you wanted to discuss, Davey?
No, I think we were thinking, we'll probably only go about an hour or so, and we've, as we always do, Lewis, we've been able to can't stop chatting, mate. We just love chatting. So
we talk
it's
nonsense, don't we? We've had 3 subjects. We had 3 subjects, and we managed to stretch it over like 2 hours. I love it.
Always the way, mate. It's always the way.
I appreciate
it's been a pleasure, mate.
I appreciate you coming on and helping out. And let us know where you are, where people can find you. Give yourself a plug.
Sure. Yeah. So on my personal YouTube, I'm on the road to 5K. I'm about 100 off now at this point, so getting really close. Hoping before end of year, but I don't think. I took a couple of months off, so I think that's kind of come back to bite me in the arse. But if you're looking for video game reviews, and especially leaning towards more survival horror side, then by all means, go onto YouTube, type in SSJDavey, you will find my platform there. If you're looking for PlayStation coverage, so the other side of the coin from Xbox, and Lewis has been on many a times, our most returning guest, then you can find us on In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast, available on everywhere you get your podcasts, and right here on YouTube.
And you're on the road to 200 subscribers as well on that channel,
We are.
So you're getting close.
196, 4 to go. So whoever is the 200 sub, you won't get a prize, but just take honour in that you were number 200.
Yeah.
So get on it.
And we're nearly at 300 here on Xbox The Box, so we got to keep ahead of them. So just make sure we got to make sure that we stay ahead of the PlayStation guys. So make sure you subscribe if you've listened this far into it. Oh, competition. Ooh. Nah, we love those guys. They're great. And I'm also nearly 5,000 subscribers on my channel, but I think, Davey, you might have took me over now then by the sound of things, because I'm 4,800 odd, I think, on my personal channel.
I'm very close then.
Oh.
I'm 4,870 something.
I think I'm literally like 10 behind me or something now on my Potato Pro Wrestling. If you like professional wrestling, check it out. And help me, please. I've been stuck at nearly 5,000 for like 2 years now. It's just not happening. I'm like, oh no, frustrated. Anyway,
keep the grind.
Yeah, thank you for joining me anyway, Davey. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hopefully we'll be back soon. We're not sure exactly when the next episode will be. Maybe 2 weeks from now, maybe a month. I'm not sure. We haven't planned it ahead, but please stay tuned. We will still be making content on this channel, so please subscribe and let us leave a like and all that in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, too sweet. Goodbye. Au revoir.
Take care, guys.
Bye bye. Peace. Bye. Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at xmarksbox on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.